T.I. explained himself. They only responded because, his dogs holler. Now, beauty's in the eye of the beholder. T.I., T.I.'s son, they supposed to think that that's beauty, but I think deep down inside, T.I., he know what it is.
Would you want for your son to say something?
I can't honestly say I would want my son, especially the age. I know he's our son, but ain't he older?
Yeah, older.
He's 20 or 21 or something. Yeah. I would just want to handle it myself. I wouldn't want my kids or my family to.
But people that love you can't tell.
A rumor recently began circulating online suggesting that 50 Cent might be producing a documentary about one of the most controversial and unresolved stories in hip-hop. The possibility alone immediately captured attention across social media. This is not the type of rumor that fades quickly like typical celebrity gossip. Instead, it touches on serious allegations that have followed T.I. and his wife Tamka Tiny Harris for several years. Because of the nature of the accusations and the high-profile figures involved, the story has continued to spark curiosity, debate, and intense public discussion. Some people are eager to see the situation explored in greater depth, while others believe it should remain in the past. Either way, the rumor alone has brought the controversy back into the spotlight. To understand why this topic still attracts attention, it helps to revisit how the story originally began. The allegations first became widely known in 2021. At that time, multiple women began sharing accounts online describing encounters they said they'd experienced with T.I. and Tiny. According to those posts, some of the alleged incidents took place years earlier, stretching from the mid-2000s through the late 2010s. Soon after these claims began circulating, reports indicated that attorneys representing some of the individuals involved said that more than 20 people had reached out with similar experiences. These accounts described meeting the couple in various environments connected to the entertainment and nightlife industries, or music industry events where celebrities and fans often mingle. Several individuals claimed that after meeting the couple, they were invited to more private settings. According to the accounts shared publicly, these situations sometimes became uncomfortable after alcohol or other substances were involved. A few individuals stated that they later felt disoriented or confused about what had happened, suggesting that they might have been under the influence of substances. Some of the alleged incidents were said to have taken place in different states across the United States. Because of this, any formal investigation, if pursued, would potentially involve multiple jurisdictions and law enforcement agencies. Attorney Tyrone at Blackburn eventually spoke publicly about the situation. Blackburn said that several women had contacted him describing troubling experiences involving the couple. According to him, many of the individuals were willing to cooperate with authorities if official investigations were opened. Blackburn later sent letters to law enforcement agencies in both Georgia and California, as well as to federal offices. In those letters, he urged authorities to review the allegations and consider launching formal investigations into the claims. However, the situation quickly ran into a major legal complication. Many of the alleged incidents had taken place years earlier, sometimes more than a decade before the accusations became public. Because of this delay, certain potential charges could fall outside the statute of limitations in some jurisdictions. In legal terms, the statute of limitations refers to the period of time during which prosecutors are allowed to bring charges for a particular offense. Once that window closes, it can become extremely difficult or even impossible to pursue criminal prosecution regardless of the seriousness of the claims. Blackburn acknowledged that this legal obstacle existed. Nevertheless, he argued that the gravity of the accusations justified a thorough review by investigators. He suggested that even if criminal charges could not ultimately be filed, the claims still deserved careful attention. The people who came forward represented a wide range of backgrounds. Some were former military service members. Others were dancers, interns working in recording studios, or individuals who had simply encountered the couple while attending nightlife events. Several individuals said that their experiences had left lasting emotional impacts. Some also stated that they had never publicly discussed what they believed had happened to them until the allegations began gaining attention in 2021. Throughout all of this, T.I. and Tiny have consistently and strongly denied the accusations. Through their legal representatives, the couple has maintained that every encounter they had with other adults was entirely consensual. Their attorneys have described the allegations as false, exaggerated, or misleading. According to their defense, the accusations may represent an organized attempt to damage their reputations rather than legitimate claims of wrongdoing. Their legal team has emphasized that the couple has lived extremely public lives within the entertainment industry for decades. As celebrities deeply connected to music, television, and nightlife culture, T.I. and Tiny have attended countless events, hosted parties, and socialized with large groups of people over the years. Their defense argues that interactions with fans and acquaintances in those settings were voluntary and part of the social environment surrounding the music industry. Their attorneys also pointed to the same legal complication that Blackburn acknowledged: time. When allegations emerge years after the events are said to have occurred, investigations become much more difficult. Memories fade. Physical evidence disappears. Witnesses may move away, forget details, or become impossible to locate. Because of these challenges, investigators often struggle to confirm or disprove claims that date back more than a decade. From the defense's perspective, the absence of criminal charges and the passage of time support their argument that the accusations do not accurately reflect what actually happened. Despite these denials, the allegations have never fully disappeared from public discussion. For years, the story has existed in an unusual space somewhere between serious accusations and unresolved questions. On one side are individuals who insist their experiences deserve recognition and investigation. On the other side are firm denials from the accused and a legal system limited by time constraints. Without a courtroom resolution or definitive ruling, the controversy has remained suspended in public debate. Then, something unusual happened. For someone as outspoken online as 50 Cent, there was a noticeable period of silence. Fans who follow his social media activity are used to seeing him comment on current events, share memes, or engage in playful online feuds. His presence online is constant and often unpredictable. But during this particular moment, he suddenly went quiet. The silence stood out even more because he and T.I. had previously exchanged public jabs on social media. Their rivalry had produced jokes, comments, and occasional tension over the years. So when 50 Cent stopped hosting about certain topics entirely, many people began to speculate about why. Shortly afterward, rumors started circulating that he might be developing a documentary connected to the allegations involving T.I. and Tiny. No official confirmation has been announced by 50 Cent or his production team. Still, the possibility alone reignited conversation online. Part of the reason the rumors spread so quickly is because 50 Cent has built a reputation for turning controversial stories into successful media projects. Through television series, documentaries, and entertainment ventures, he has demonstrated an ability to capture audiences' attention with dramatic storytelling. If someone with that kind of influence were to produce a documentary about this particular controversy, it would likely attract millions of viewers. And documentaries can have a powerful effect. Unlike a brief social media post or a single news headline, documentaries have the ability to explore stories in depth. They can present timelines, include interviews, analyze evidence, and allow individuals to share their perspectives in their own words. Hearing someone describe an experience directly on camera can carry emotional weight that a written article often cannot fully capture. Over the past decade, documentaries have repeatedly shown their power to revive public interest in stories that once seemed forgotten. When audiences see interviews, archived footage, and personal testimonies presented together, it can reshape how a story is understood. Supporters of the idea believe that a documentary could finally bring deeper examination to allegations that they feel were never fully explored. According to that viewpoint, the accusations gained attention briefly in 2021 but gradually faded without meaningful resolution. A detailed documentary could potentially revisit the timeline, present accounts from individuals involved, and encourage broader discussion. Some believe that allowing people to speak about their experiences on camera could give the story a level of visibility it never previously received. However, critics of the idea see serious problems with that approach. Supporters of T.I. argue that both he and Tiny have repeatedly denied the accusations. They also emphasize that no criminal convictions have resulted from the claims. From their perspective, turning an unresolved controversy into entertainment, especially before any court has made a determination, could unfairly shape public opinion. a documentary can feel persuasive. Through editing, music, and storytelling, it can create narratives that viewers may interpret as evidence, even when the material presented does not meet legal standards of proof. For critics, that distinction is extremely important. Some also question the motivations behind the potential project. Because 50 Cent and T.I. have had a long-standing rivalry unrelated to these allegations, skeptics argue that a documentary produced in that context could risk appearing biased. In their view, the identity of the storyteller matters just as much as the story being told. Supporters respond with a different argument. They say that if individuals are willing to speak publicly about experiences they believe are true, the identity of the producer does not automatically invalidate those accounts. From that perspective, providing a platform for people to share their stories can still have value regardless of who funds or produces the project. This disagreement highlights a broader issue that the entertainment industry has been grappling with for years: the tension between narrative power and legal proof. Public conversations about allegations can move faster than legal systems. Stories can spread widely online long before investigators have the opportunity or the legal authority to review them. Sometimes public attention later aligns with legal findings. Other times, investigations fail to confirm accusations that had already shaped public perception. There is rarely a simple way to know which outcome will occur until every available piece of information has been examined. What makes the situation involving T.I. and Tiny especially complicated is the possibility that a complete picture may never fully emerge. If statutes of limitations have already closed certain legal pathways, prosecutors may never be able to pursue criminal charges related to some of the alleged incidents. Over time, evidence becomes harder to verify, and witnesses may struggle to recall details from events that occurred more than a decade earlier. At the same time, the individuals who shared their stories continue to insist that their experiences should not be dismissed simply because of the passage of time. As a result, the debate remains deeply divided. If a documentary were eventually produced, it would not automatically resolve those disagreements. Instead, it would likely present interviews, perspectives, and interpretations that viewers would evaluate for themselves. Some audiences might see it as an opportunity to learn more about a complicated and unresolved situation. Others might see it as an unnecessary reopening of a controversy that has already caused years of debate. Before the rumors about 50 Cent began circulating, the story had largely faded from mainstream discussion. Many people had moved on to other news, and the controversy had become quieter in public conversations. But it had never truly disappeared. Now, because of speculation about a possible documentary, the topic has returned to headlines and social media debates. Whether such a project will actually be produced remains uncertain. It is also unclear whether the individuals involved would agree to participate in interviews or provide commentary. What is certain, however, is that the conversation about the allegations involving T.I. and Tiny has been reignited. And once again, millions of people are discussing a story that still has no definitive ending. The accusations were serious. The denials were equally firm. Legal limitations may have closed certain investigative doors. Yet the public fascination with the story continues. If a documentary does emerge, it could introduce the controversy to a new generation of viewers, reaching audiences who were unaware of the allegations when they first surfaced. And in doing so, it may once again reopen a debate that many believed had already been left behind.